Welcome, welcome, welcome. I am your Polkadot Specialist, Vol. And today we're going to talk about one of my favorite projects, Kusama. Now, with Kusama, like I normally do, I'm going to walk you through in layman's terms, make it simple. Then I'm going to get a little more technical. So in this particular video, I'm going to cover a few things. I'm going to say a whole bunch of different names of different coins and different technology. But just keep in mind, like I've mentioned in previous videos, these are just applications that have different uses. Okay, so it's not necessarily that the name matters. So if you want to look up a project, the name will matter. But I'll kind of touch on what some of these projects might do with like a quick sentence or so. So don't get caught up in so many different names. Just know that they are different technologies that have certain uses within crypto. Okay. Now, I'm also going to talk about prices. I don't normally talk about prices, but in this particular video, I do want to outline what I believe is an opportunity for myself in the future. Now, I never tell people to buy coins or different things like that. I just work on my own stuff. You know what I'm saying? Just look at my own opportunities. And if people want to know what I do, I don't mind sharing those different things. Now, when it comes to like my friends and family, I normally just tell them Bitcoin, Ethereum, XRP. Because those are some of the lower risk coins out there. I try not to get into the alternative coins from them. So anytime you hear a person say altcoin, that just means alternative coin to Bitcoin. So anything that's not Bitcoin is alternative and normally much higher risk. So I normally would stick to, when explaining stuff to newer people, just very safe coins. Because what I don't want to happen, is something happen, to that particular project or coin, and then they're looking at me crazy. Like, hey, I tell you do your own research anyway. So especially with the way the prices fluctuate, and I get a call every 3 days talk about, hey, what's happening to my money? No. So, but I do like to talk about these particular projects, So I am not your financial advisor. And again, these videos are just for entertainment and educational purposes. So crypto is very risky. It's something I have to say. So, venture into these projects at your own risk tolerance. All right. So now that that's out the way, I'm going to tell you a little story to kind of explain Kusama. Now, Kusama and Polkadot are very similar. So if you want to know a lot of the benefits of Kusama, I'm going to link my Polkadot video. Okay, so I'm going to link my Polkadot video because they're going to have a lot of similarities. So a lot of the things that I love about Polkadot will be the same about Kusama. So to kind of explain Kusama, I'm going to tell you a story. So back in the day, okay, there was mine workers, okay, and the mine workers would have a bird in a cage, and they would go into a cave to work on the mines. And as they would walk down these dark tunnels, they would carry this bird, and if this bird would die, they knew that there was bad gases or that the air was bad. So they would turn around. So the bird would protect them from the gases before they would get hurt. That essentially, in this analogy, Polkadot is the worker or the man or the person in this story. The Kusama is the bird. Okay. So what Kusama is it's the same exact technology. I'm going to explain. I'm going to re-say that again. All right. It is the same exact technology. We'll say about 90 to 95% the same exact technology as Polkadot. Has the same team, has the same code. Okay. Now there are some differences. Okay. So what Kusama is it is to protect Polkadot. What Kusama is the experimental and the creative side of Polkadot. It's kind of like the research and development branch, research and development, the R&D. So that's where a lot of creative things happen. First, they'll try it out in real world, uses. So Rikoku is the test net. Okay. Kusama is not a test net. So Rikoku is a test net. Kusama is not a test net. So Rikoku, with the test net, you normally work with things that are fake, like fake assets and things of that nature. With the difference between a test net and Kusama is, even though Kusama is for research and development, it's using real money, real assets, real value. There's real projects, real applications that people can actually use for lending and borrowing, for finances, for picture NFTs. These are real things. So that's why it's not a test net. It is research and development. So on Kusama, you will have a lot of similarities to Polkadot. So why is Kusama great? Okay. And a great opportunity. Well, first of all, it is Polkadot, or at least it's code, I should say. All right. It is faster in terms of its upgrades. Now, the reason why they do this is because Polkadot is for more safer things, and Kusama is more for, try to break it and test the limits and cutting edge technology. Okay. So, but Polkadot is that conservative, want to make sure everything's right and good, before it's a lot slower. And Kusama's like fast. You know what I'm saying? So that's kind of the difference between the two, just kind of summarize it. So when Kusama updates, it's about 7 to 8 days after the community decides what they want to do, that they'll push a change. Okay, they call a referendum, where they vote on what they want to do next with the technology, and and that change happens after 7 to 8 days, roughly around there. On Polkadot, it's around like 28 days. Okay, so that's one big difference. So the upgrades on Kusama are much quicker, and it's slower on Polkadot. So that's one difference. Another difference is the different technologies will have the different applications, and dApps will have different things. So I'm gonna go into that a little bit. So let's talk about some of these projects. Okay, so let's go here. Okay, I'm on Market Cap. Okay, so this here is Polkadot. Okay, so you got one of my favorites, A-Star. So A-Star's on there. You got Moonbeam. You got a Moon River. You got a Kala. You got Phala. These are all different technologies. And you got Bifrost. So this is Polkadot. Now, this is what you have to understand with Kusama. Okay, so this is Polkadot. Now with Kusama, you have Moon River. Okay, now this is what people don't understand. Moon River and Moonbeam are almost the same. You might see some differences because the technology starts, they test it out, they bring it to Moon River first. So Moon River is similar to like A-Star, where people will have applications and different things on there that they will build apps. Okay, or in crypto, again, they call it dApps. But anyway, it's just a place where people could build different applications like you would see on your phone. Okay. Now, they have the same different technology. So some of the apps may be a little different on Moonriver versus Moonbeam, but they are pretty much similar. But what they do is a lot of these projects that are on Polkadot are also on Kusama, so they can try to do research and development. So they can test things out in real world use cases. So a lot of the same technology that is on Polkadot is here on Kusama. Okay, you also have Bifrost, just like you have on Polkadot. Now, some of these projects actually use the same name. Moonbeam and Moonriver use a different name. But Bifrost, because they use the same coin on both Kusama and they're going to use it on Polkadot, is just going by Bifrost. Moonriver and Moonbeam actually use two different coins. Okay, so on Moonriver you have the Mover token, all right, MOVR. Okay, on Moonbeam you have the Glimmer token, the GLMR. Okay, so that's one difference there. Also, the type of coins, like how many coins that they have, is normally a big difference between the two. All right, so I won't go too far into that, but just keep in mind the maximum supply is normally drastically different on the projects on Kusama. It's normally a lot less coins than ones on Polkadot. So that is normally another big difference. And I'm going to go in a little bit of that because that's also another opportunity for some of these coins. So on Moonriver is like the number one project on Kusama, one of the top ones overall. In the last bull cycle, or last time that crypto had all the hype and news and different things like that, Moonriver did phenomenal. Why? Because its supply was much lower than Moonbeam. And so because of that, there's a lot of people that made a lot of money. All right. So another project is Karura. Okay, so Karura, and if I'm butchering these names, I apologize in advance. I am not the greatest. Had a friend of mine in my A-Star DGens, kind of help me out, with the tofu NFTs. I was butchering that name. So some of these names I might not get 1,000% right. I might be good with crypto, but I'm not the greatest with English at times. So I apologize if I butcher any of these names. But anyway, Karura. So Karura is the same technology as Akala. So now this one is very, very, very unique. And why Kusama is such a wild card and very something that you really have to keep your eye on, because it's cutting edge technology. So that's a big difference. It's not like some of these older projects where it's, old tech, and we'll kind of go into that as well, but it's new technology. And so this is one of the things that happened. So this project here, the Kala and then Kala Dollar. So on Polkadot, this particular project actually ended up having an issue where there was like a hack and somebody made a whole bunch of coins, just printed a whole bunch of money. And because of that, this particular project was supposed to be the blockchain darling of Polkadot, but then it ended up falling on its face a little bit because of this particular issue that happened with the developers of this project. Unfortunately having this happen. So this particular project was the first project to actually launch. Well, the first project that had like a team. There was another one, but we won't go into that. But with Akala, this was the first one that got voted on to come into existence, I should say. And so with this one, it had that issue with the Akala dollar, which was a coin that was 1 for the dollar. Okay, so that's what they do. They are a financial hub where you could lend and borrow, and in exchange for the coins that you would lend out, they would give you something called the Akala dollar. So what ended up happening is they had an issue with the project. And this coin has never really recovered with the dollar. So it's no longer able to be one for one. Went much further down and it's never got back to $1. So people that had this kind of lost some of their funds. Now, the unique thing is here on Karua, which is the same technology, they did not have that issue. So on Kusama, this is actually one of the better technologies on Kusama, even though on Polkadot, it's not. So on Kusama, they don't have the issue with that. So I was talking to somebody the other day and I was explaining Bifrost, and they're like, well, I like Karua. And I was like, okay, I get it. And so they ended up liking Karua because they actually have very good technology, but because they had that issue on Polkadot, they were never able to recover. But this shows you how, and they use two different coins. So because of that, this particular project might end up being something where they take real good care of Karua on Kusama, and as they try to work and improve on the Polkadot version. But this is a case where, in this particular case, the Karua project ends up being the more stable one because it didn't end up having one of those issues. So this is a unique situation that happened. I kind of want to point out, but not to go too much longer into this particular section. So here are, so this one, like, calamari, that's the same as manta. Now this here is a Shiden. Now there's different pronunciations for this. But we're going to say Shiden network. This is actually A star on Kusama. And again, Basculus is the same as varhdx. Now on Basculus, they don't have the Omni pool. So this is like the difference. So initially Basculus was going to be the section that had your high risk coins, and on varhdx they were going to have your blue chip coins, or your best projects there, and all the coins that were trying to figure out how much they're worth and find out what their value was, and they were just launching meme coins and all that would go to Basculus. Now, one of the things that's holding back Kusama is that these two technologies are supposed to communicate and be able to switch, transfer assets. They call it bridging. This means coming together to bring the assets to be able to transfer funds from or coins or assets or crypto from one area to another area. So from Kusama to Polkadot and back and forth. This particular bridge is close to coming out, but it hasn't officially launched yet. But it's supposed to be in the works anytime soon. I know they just got finished having some updates where it looks like it should be happening in the near future. But this is kind of an overlay on Kusama. Now with Kusama, you have something called one of my favorite things with Kusama, with stuff like Moonbeam, with stuff like A Star, is when they have all this activity, all these developers building on them, right? You have something called a network effect, because you have this community of people that kind of need to use this one coin, Kusama, so there creates a demand. Okay, so because of that, this network effect of people needing to use a similar technology and people creating different uses for it, it really empowers the particular coin of Kusama. So that's one of the things that I really like about Kusama, and that I look for in particular projects. Now, the higher risk coins actually on Kusama, I don't really get into those as much, but the main coin, the actual KSM is the ticker, I do like that one because I do believe that that particular coin for the research and development area of Polkadot called Kusama, I definitely like, and it's definitely my one of my top coins that I'm looking at for myself. All right, now that we've covered, okay, a little bit of history of what Kusama is, what it's for research and development, and how there's different projects that kind of mirror each other or shadow each other between Kusama and Polkadot. The same team, same technology. It's just that with Polkadot, things are a little slower, more methodical, make sure it doesn't want to break. Kusama, things are faster, chaos, quick, let's go, right? So now, let's talk about opportunities. Okay, so what we're going to do is, so the way I look at it is this. In the past, this is another little story, so bear with me. This might be a little longer video, but I kind of want to take my time with this one because, I just want to kind of talk about my thought process. So back in the day with crypto, they had Bitcoin. Okay, so Bitcoin came out, it was this thing, it had this community, but then there was people in the community that didn't like certain features of Bitcoin. They wanted to try to make it better. So they did something called forking, or taking the same code and creating a whole new project using the same code and just making small tweaks. So this happened, and you ended up getting different versions of Bitcoin. So these particular versions would be Bitcoin Cash, Litecoin, and Satoshi's Vision. Bitcoin, Satoshi's Vision, SV. Okay, so the reason why I mention this, because Polkadot and Kusama have a similar relationship, but they actually work together, not separate. Polkadot, Kusama actually holds a whole bunch of Polkadot. They actually allocated a whole bunch of it. So they actually, once this bridge happens, there's going to be a lot of interaction between Polkadot and Kusama. So they're working together as a team. These other projects, such as, Litecoin, Bitcoin Cash, Satoshi's Visions, they're competing. And now they done lost to Bitcoin. They done lost to Bitcoin. But what ended up happening is these particular projects ended up still being very, very connected. Like most of them, I want to say Litecoin and Bitcoin Cash. I believe this one's Bitcoin Cash. So let's go into this. So Bitcoin Cash is still in the top 20. And it's pretty much the same code as Bitcoin. Now, the way they do it is like, the way the payments and stuff work is a little faster because they have like bigger blocks and all sorts of stuff. It don't even matter. It's similar code. It's pretty much, they literally just copied and paste. All right. So let's look into the opportunity from a price standpoint. So we're going to get a little technical from here on. So those that don't want to look at charts and all that, I ain't going to go too far in them. I'm just going to talk about how it was at one particular date in terms of price action and where it went to. Okay. So this is Bitcoin Cash. Now we all know that Bitcoin went over 60,000 now. Okay, so we're moving now, baby. So right now, Bitcoin Cash's price is $392 as of today. Okay, now this coin nearly in 2018 went almost to $4,000. Okay, and went all the way to that amount. Let me see something. Okay, so that's what it did there. Now, in the last cycle, so last cycle was 2020 to 2021, right around there, and it ended around Halloween, November of 2021 or so. That's what it was projected to do, and it actually did. All right, so this one went all the way up to 1,400 around $1,400. We'll say 1,400. So even though it did not reach its all-time high, it still got to 14. Okay, it still got to about 1,400. So with that being the case, it's at about $400 now. Now the difference is, this was old technology. This was that proof of work system that was pretty old, where you had to actually have, computers validating transactions, all this other stuff. We're not going to get into all that. But just keep in mind, it was that original crypto technology that was from the first generation. And we're on like generation 3, 4 at this point. So at this point, this is very old technology, but it's still in the top 20. Just because it's associated with Bitcoin. Now, let's go and take another look at another one. We got Litecoin here. So Litecoin's at $80. Okay, same thing. Now this one was actually a lot closer. Let's take a look. Let's went max. So 2018, okay, it went all the way up to around, we'll say, close to $400. And then in 2021, it went almost to $400 again. So that's a little over a 4x, right? Okay. And this one is number 22. Okay, so as you can see, just because of the name, right? All right, so follow me, and then we'll wrap up. Satoshi's Vision, right? It's at $99, right? Okay, 2000. Let's see. Let's go to max. It's not going back as far, but same difference. It's at $100. It went to about 400 and 400. Okay, so we'll say that. So in the last cycle, it's about a 4x from the last cycle. Okay. All right. So now that we've established, just because of the name and because of them having similar technology, they kind of moved together to a degree, even though Bitcoin is still the top dog. All right. Now we're going to go to Kusama. Now we know Bitcoin went over 60,000. Polkadot is been hovering around 12th place, 13th place. Recently it hit about $10, All right. So the big difference between Kusama and Polkadot from a coin standpoint is Polkadot has 1.4 billion coins. 1.4 billion coins. And they can make more Polkadot, about 10% per year, if needed. Now, on Kusama, there is 10 million coins, not billion, only 10 million. Now, it has not, I repeat, it has not reached 10 million coins. On Polkadot, they pumping out coins, baby. But on Kusama, they're at 10 million. They're still under 10 million that's out there. Now, with that being said, during the last cycle, Kusama was one of them projects that I was in, and it was like, what's going on with this project? It was a monster. I ain't even gonna lie. This thing was just pumping. I think I got into it initially around $100, and then this thing went up to like $630. I was like, I wish I would have gotten into, I had that song in my head, if I can turn back, the hands of time, baby. I would have tried to accumulate, right? So, right now, Kusama's at $50. All right. So its all-time high, like we talked about, was about It's not listed here. It was about $600, a little over $600. It was like $630-ish right here. On this one, it has it at exactly $600, but I know it was a little over $600 overall. So we'll say about $630-ish. Now, it right now is at about $50, right? So that means that would be 12 times your money. So for every $100 you put in, you only get $1,200. For every $1,000 you put in, you get $12,000 if it gets back to what it was. Now, as we saw before with your Bitcoin Cash and your Litecoin and your Satoshi's Vision, that they didn't get to that all-time high in a lot of cases. I think Litecoin was kind of like touched where it was before, but most of the time they don't get all the way to their all-time high. But they did get to about half. So even if Kusama gets to half of where it was, you're still looking at a 6x, 6 times your money. So with that being said, there's a drastic difference between the Bitcoin stuff, with the different spin-offs or the forks or whatever you want to call it. They're competing. Kusama and Polkadot are not competing. They're working together. They're using each other's technology. Kusama is the front runner in the innovation and creativity, and Polkadot is that, that person that, don't want to get their feet dirty. They just nice and pretty, doing what they do. Slow and methodical and safe. So because of that, just imagine Kusama right now is at the place of 179 in terms of how much money's in the project, the market cap. And I do believe it is a top at least 50 coin. At least 50. I believe it got to like top 30, top 50 before as well. So because of that, and again, it was one of those projects I was like, I wish I could turn back the hands of time. Now, I was able to look at a few different coins around, like, I picked up a little at $18, $20, Some of my friends can vouch for that. So, I'm already doing well here, but it still has a lot of room to run. In my mind, again, this is not financial advice, but in my mind, I'm saying to myself, Kusama should at least get the $300. And because it's not old technology, it is not Bitcoin Cash, it is not Satoshi's Vision, which are all just payment systems, just like Polkadot. I mean, just like Bitcoin. They're all payment systems, just like Bitcoin. Kusama is cutting edge technology. Matter of fact, the technology is even more advanced than Polkadot because it comes first. Like the new upgrade, core time. I'm not going to get into that, but that's just a new way where people can, buy more power in the Polkadot super machine. It comes to Kusama first. So Kusama actually has the latest technology. It's not as safe as Polkadot, but it's definitely more creative. So because of that, I see Kusama as that phenomenal opportunity that doesn't get talked about. And I would not be surprised. And when that Polkadot bridge happens and you're able to transfer funds and assets from one area of Polkadot to Kusama and back and forth, and there's more interoperability, watch out. I am your Polkadot specialist, and I'll talk to you next time. Like and subscribe. Thank you.